Hey everyone, welcome back to Trading with Venzen. Last time we spoke to Venzen, the price was 10,300. Obviously it's taken a bit of a dip, so in today's show we're going to have a chat on where we're currently at and what's likely to happen short, medium and long term. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got an excellent show coming up on Friday where Lisa, who was with us last time we spoke with Venzen, joins us again. And we're also going to have Didi from the Bitcoin family. Didi's famous for going all in on Bitcoin, absolutely all in. So that's going to be fascinating to hear his thinking and introduce you to him. Thanks once again to our sponsors, MDJ, who are helping us make this content. They're behind a project called Blockchain Valley. The link to that's below. Check it out. It's pretty amazing as well. Enjoy the show. You seen any change in volume or anything that would sort of indicate new people are coming in?
You know what, Sean? I hold the very strange and unpopular view that adoption doesn't matter. I know this is contrary to what most people believe, and you'd say, why are the developers then doing what they're doing? Why are we all in this space? I think that Bitcoin, I've said this many times before, and people sort of just draw a blank when I say it. I think that this is it. This is as good as it gets. And that the price is oscillating. The price is going up and down because of speculation. You know, the thing that's always driven markets, that adoption doesn't drive it, because there have been periods in the past, for instance, 2014, when we had a massive bear market after that 1,200 top, and everyone was thinking this thing is amazing, and there was a lot of adoption, institutions, businesses coming in. And the adoption was actually growing from 2014 into 2015. But during 2014, when it was a bear market and just going from like 680 in June of that year down to 150, the beginning of 2015, during that period, there was actually a massive growth in adoption, yet the price went down. And this fits with my sort of Elliott wave view that it's not external factors that drive price, but an internal market psychology. However many people there are in the market, it could be 10, it could be 10 million. So yeah, that's my kind of view on it. But to answer your question, do I see anything that there's a change? Not in volume, not in news, but what I am seeing is that the price chart has sort of reached a lower threshold in a channel, and therefore it must go up now. I guess we'll have a look at that a bit later on. What do you think about the altcoins that are promising a sort of a viable alternative to Bitcoin? I see that the guy from XRP, one of the Ripple sort of guys, has said that Bitcoin can't scale and can't do microtransactions, and this is why everyone should be going for Ripple. What do you think about those kind of sentiments?
Okay, so I can't comment on Ripple. I haven't actually followed it. I mean, as you know, I've been very much a Bitcoin site from the get-go. So to give any intelligent commentary on what Ripple are up to, I'm not really in a position to do that.
I didn't. So I know what you mean. I also am the same. I can't talk about Ripple because to me it's just not worth reading about or caring about. I just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I just mean
I think Tobey's drilled it into me that it was a complete scam.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, bizarrely, I have actually owned it. It was, in fact, one of the first coins that somebody put me on to. So I mean, I feel embarrassed to say that. So I guess that kind of sums up.
I don't, because in the beginning we just didn't know. You know, in 2013, I harnessed I put up a little laptop that was overheating because I was looking for some cancer genome using the CPU, and I was earning Ripple for that, you know. And I had like 50 Ripple or something. I was like, woohoo, you know, I'm invested. Yeah. And it just turned out that those XRPs, I mean, I eventually sold them for a few Satoshis because I was just like, nah, this Ripple thing, man.
Yeah, maybe what I can comment on from your question there, we went to the CoinGeek conference in Seoul. I mean, we've discussed that project before. I take it seriously. As I say, I'm a Bitcoin site. We are.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I think sort of covering the other projects, I'm sure the guys at PCH probably be getting pretty pissed off at the moment. So don't really talk too much about them. That is something I want to rectify in the coming weeks, and get a bit of information about what they're up to out to the public. I think my role as a journalist is to cover these different Bitcoin projects and let people make their own minds up. But certainly what I'm seeing from CoinGeek, it was, off the back of visiting those guys in Toronto, this definitely was same thing again. There was a big crowd. They were from every corner of the planet. These guys are organized. They're, right across the board. They're ticking all the boxes to certainly be taken seriously. So, I think they possibly still have that issue with a lot of people just not liking Craig Wright, which I think really people who do think like that maybe need to get over that and view the project as a whole. So you mentioned issues with the Brad Garlinghouse, I believe is his name, the guy from Ripple, saying Bitcoin doesn't scale. Well, that Bitcoin project does scale. The next hard fork will remove the block size cap. So, I think it'd be for anybody that's in the space as purely as an investor or looking to build on a blockchain. For me, this is something you've got to be looking at. It's insane not to. So that's really my thoughts around that issue. I'll certainly go away and have a look at what Ripple are up to. The one that has been on a lot of people's lips, and we did an interview with them, is a project called Chainlink. You familiar with them? They've actually had some really significant price movement in the last few days. You familiar with that project?
Nope, don't know it. Don't know it. Tell us about it.
I'm going to post some content. It was a short interview. Usual story. I asked the guy to explain it to us, and it was incredibly technical. I'm trying to create content for people new to the space to help grow the space. So it was a bit, like this. When
you ask a guy for what's Bitcoin or what's your coin doing, and they give you 1,000 formulas. It's like, wow, yeah,
easy target. So anyway, Venzen, let's come back to some more sort of chat on the overall state of play. But I haven't really been following the price other than to know that it's taken somewhat of a nosedive since we last spoke. I think it was hovering around the 10.5 region last time.
We were up at the 10.5s the last time we spoke, about 3 weeks ago, and there's just been some significant drops. And funny enough, they were drops that were difficult to trade. I pride myself on having a trading method that signals these things.
Yeah.
But when you're in a correction, as we are, as we've been in since 2017, sometimes the signals are not good, man. They're not reliable for so long that when you do get another signal, you're like, no, this one can also not be trusted. And then price drops $1,000 or $2,000. It's kind of like, man, I do this for a living. Like,
well, you've been one of the more accurate analysts out there since I've followed you. So, I from memory, last time we spoke, you were really looking for a move either below 8 or above 11.3. I think were your sort of parameters to be making a call. So we're sort of hovering around that figure. So I'm intrigued to hear what you are thinking.
Right. I mean, just further to that, the woman analyst that we did, the Elliott Wave trader that we did analysis with 3 weeks ago, me and her both sort of agreed that 7,600 looks likely, and I think this has been hit. We got close to 7.7. But those are just from drawing trend lines. There's no magic or genius involved in calling that kind of target. So we're quite. So I'll screen share and we look at the charts. What's been happening? Just a little bit a cap on this topic that we were discussing: altcoins and alternatives to Bitcoin and scaling and all of that. The thing that the driver here for me, if we look at fundamentals, of course, it's speculation. Speculation drives the price chart, but there are certain things that make a asset believable for people to invest in it. And I think with Bitcoin, the Bitcoin core, there is definitely this thing looming in the future that the Lightning Network is going to come to fruition. It's going to happen. It's going to be production quality, and it's going to work. I think people were expecting it to work 2 years ago already, or maybe a year ago. And because it's dragging out, people are not looking at it. There's some, the developers find errors, and they find incongruencies, and they find sort of bottlenecks, and they've got to fix those. And because there's been so many instances of this, people are like, this Lightning Network thing is never going to work. Yet it is an incredible advancement for Bitcoin, because what it'll do once it does work, it'll be a peer-to-peer network, so there's no centralization. It will allow microtransactions at almost instantaneously, unlike Bitcoin that needs so many confirmations. And the Lightning Network will also have minimal fees. The fees will be so minimal because of microtransactions.
We need to get somebody from,
and the amount of
from
transactions
on here.
Yeah, we need somebody, and we discuss it, because what'll be so interesting for me to speak with a developer or somebody who knows about the state of Lightning is when this thing does become viable, when it goes to production quality, it's going to rock the world. And this is what keeps me confident that Bitcoin is tending towards 100 million rather than 0 in the long term. So with that said, should we look at the charts?
Let's do that. But firstly, Lawrence, you know who you are. We want you on this show. I know one of the key guys working on that project.
Okay, there's a Lawrence. Yeah, please join us.
He's the CTO at Blockstream. He's a great guy. So
that's the right guy.
I hit him up again. I don't want to start begging Lawrence. You're coming on the show. Whether you like it or not. All right, Venzen.
Okay, here we go.
Chart.
So this here is a Bitstamp chart. I've set it to 4 hours, right? So for anybody who's unfamiliar with charting, a 4-hour chart means that every little price candle here. So if we look at, say, this long red candle going down to there, that outlines 4 hours worth of price action. And when that 4 hours have expired, then the next candle opens, and so on and so on. So every candle is 4 hours worth. So it gives us a view of price action since the end of June. That's why I choose 4 hours, because it allows you to look at the chart and then see the progression from top left here, which was the June top near 14,000. And then Bitcoin has been in this kind of sideways grind. And I've placed a green trend line at the bottom because there's a touch point there. And then the next touch point is there. So I just connect the two lowest touch points. And this upper trend line has only got one touch point over there. But I cannot yet find another touch point for it. I could, for instance, do, and I'm not going to do it now because it's going to take work and waste time. I could connect this touch point and this touch point, right? But that doesn't yet make sense. So I've chosen to draw them parallel to each other. And here is the forecast, right? We've come from the top in June at 14,000, then price came down, and me and Lisa, the Elliott Wave analyst, we spoke about this 3 weeks ago. If people want to refer back to that, we come down in a typical ABC pattern. So there's a touch point. Then we go up in 3 waves, ABC to the top trend line, and then we come down in another ABC pattern. That's A, that's B to there, and this is C down to the bottom trend line, and this is about 7,700. And you can see further in the past, I've drawn a magenta sort of horizontal line there. There was a lot of contention around this level, and that's why I chose that level as a sort of approximate level, not a precise level, but a zone where there's contention. Price dipped below it. Let's come back to the present day, sort of past few weeks, around the 1st of October. Price went below this contention zone, went back up to it, came back down, went above, slowly grinded below, and we're now right back at that zone level, which is around 8,200, right? So I want to just quickly jump much closer to the price action. I'm now going to change to 15-minute candles, right? So that we're now very close. And so we're looking at the same price action from that touch on that bottom green trend line. We come up and then we descend in a similar channel. You see the parallel lines. Again, this is an A, B, C, D, E coming down to there. Each one of them being 3 waves touching to the trend lines every time. The fact that we've broken above this upper white trend line, to me, is a sign that this correction is over, that it's been completed. Also, the fact that, sorry, I'm just getting rid, TradingView really annoy with their advertising. This level here where price found a bottom and then turned and jumped out of the channel very rapidly, that's typical behavior that we look for in Elliott wave trading. This level where it bounced from is higher than this level, which tells us that we should now expect advance. Just the fact that it's higher and that this has been a sort of an A, B, C, D, E correction tells us that we're now in a 3rd wave of advance. And if I can just sort of outline it, I've drawn a rough sort of Fibonacci extension tool that projects the initial target at about 9,000. And then another target up at 9,600. And it makes sense because, look, there's a contention zone here. You see the price test that level, comes back up to it. Yeah. So there's something at 9,600 that both attracts and rejects price. I call it sort of just a gravitational zone. There's an attractor there. Yeah. So the market will want to go back towards that, but the initial level we'll target seems to be 9,000, and that makes sense because 9,000 is a round number, right? If we can hold above this purple zone where I've got the cursor right now, if we can hold above that, so price has tested it, it pushed higher, it's coming back to test it. That is the short-term picture that we're looking to 9,000 and 9,600.
When you say short-term, what sort of time period are you thinking there?
Okay, so I'm going to just zoom out and then sort of, if we just look at the next few days, that's what I'm looking at. Okay. Until, say, the weekend, or it could be before. In a few days or within the next day, we should find ourselves at 9,000. If price will go higher and be attracted to this 9,000 level, 9,600, well, then that projected forward should be around the weekend or next week.
Right.
Short term, that's what I mean in terms of days and weeks, right? I'm going to go back to the 4-hour chart, and I'm going to have to, this is useful because it gives us an overview of everything since, actually, I'm not getting everything since, which is
that big drop we had. What was that? About when did that happen? It's going back about 2 weeks.
Right? You mean this drop last year?
No. The recent one. I believe it was a short squeeze. Is that correct?
One goes. It was. Some people say that it was a liquidation run. You know that people were long from this level and then price dropped. So all of those trades had to be liquidated. That exaggerates the downward movement.
Yeah.
I'll come back to it in a minute. I just wanted to show sort of contextually, this is the November drop. Price had traded all of 2018 into this kind of triangle here. And when it was almost at its meeting point at the apex of the triangle, we dropped out of it. And we went from approximately 6,000 down to 3,200, right? Mm-hmm. From there is a rapid rise in 5 waves and then a slow grind lower without making a new low. Then price tests that previous high, creeps up to it and blasts through it. Now, the important part that I want to show here is this, that you've got a thrust up and then a slow grind sideways and then a slow advance out. This is almost analogous to what we saw in the 15-minute chart, but now I'm going to show it in the 4-hour chart here, that you've got a thrust up, then a slow grind to the sideways, and then price starts advancing.
Right.
I expect, and here we are in a 4-hour chart, these green trend lines extend over months, right? This was July when this low was printed. This was August when that sort of upward reversal happened. I believe that at some point we are busy returning now to this upper green trend line, but that this is not the end of it. We won't necessarily go above it. I know that Lisa expects us to go above it. I know that Peter Brand is expecting us to go above it, and many analysts in the space are saying, now it's the moon. Obviously this green trend line at the top will be the determinant. If price will establish above it and trade above it, well, then we can say now we're heading back towards 14,000, perhaps 20,000. We don't know. But right now, I think the only technically sound thing to say is that since the low has been struck and we are above support, if price can keep above the support, we'll be returning to 10,000 soon in the medium term. So not in the days or weeks, but within months.
Okay.
And of course, once we reach it, that upper trend line near 10,000, then we need to make that final wave E, which will come down to the 7,000 level or perhaps into the 6,000s, so that we get from the June top at the top left where my cursor is hovering, we get an A, B, C down to here. This is wave D that we're in, and then a final wave E to the bottom, which will be in the low 7,000s as well, or high 6,000s. That's what I see in the long term. So when I say long term, I mean
your mind on that. I mean,
now.
obviously, as somebody who's wanting to accumulate more Bitcoin, for me personally, I kind of like the fact that I might be able to pick some up at those sort of prices. I know a lot of people watching this won't want to hear that, but that's just my sort of personal position. What would make you change your mind? I know, interestingly, and I'd love to discuss this again on Friday with Lisa. She was calling a 50K May, as are quite a few others. You were more of a 5K May, so I'd love to revisit that topic. What would have to happen for you to change your mind around that 7K figure being revisited in December?
Okay. Can you see the chart, by the way? I've just gone back to screen share. Your question is very good, and technically it can be answered. There's some questions that just cannot be answered. Like somebody says, when will we reach 20K again? Well, it might be next year, or it might be in 5 years from now. There's just no way of really answering that kind of question, because it's the wrong question. But you're asking the right question, because the price pattern that we're seeing is a correction inside of a channel. We're seeing these 3-wave patterns which reveal to us that price is correcting, because advance happens in 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and final thrusting 5 wave there. Corrections happen in 3 waves, right? And so because this correction is drawing out these 3-wave patterns, these 3-wave structures are giving us this channel that is descending to the lower right. Your question can be answered like this. If price was to break out of this lower channel, if it was to go below it, right? So in other words, we start seeing candles in the 4-hour chart or the 1-day chart closing below this green trend line, and it can be testing them, but whatever it does, if it's below the channel, we know that there's a breakdown busy happening. Technically, you have to be bearish when a channel gets broken to the downside. Similarly, if price goes out of this channel at the top where my cursor is right now, If we go out of this channel and price starts trading above it in 4-hour candles, 1-day candle, even a 1-week candle, then you can start saying, well, we might be going up here. We don't yet know, because it might just be the second touch point for this upper trend line. But certainly when we go above 12,500, where this high is, and all of this resistance is here, one has to start thinking bullishly, and you've got to say, well, are you going to buy more at 12,000, or are you now going to wait for your opportunity to take profit on what you already hold? That is the thinking that happens here, because you don't want to buy as price is pushing above local highs, because remember the ultimate high is at 19,600 back in 2017. You want to buy above that, but until then you want to hold what you have. If there's a surprise move out of this channel, you want to hold what you've got and potentially take some profit on it at 15,000, at 17,000, or 20,000. I think that we're in a long-term bear market, and people should not get overexcited. So do not overextend yourself and buy at 12,000 or above 10,000 just yet. You want to see 12,000 get broken, and certainly that 14,000. That would turn you bullish without you investing more in Bitcoin, because I bet you we're going to suddenly descend once we make new highs above the June top. The downside is more interesting, because this is where we can accumulate, right? So as I mentioned in the beginning of this segment, if we trade below there, if price starts establishing below that green channel, then we're out of this contention zone, around this purple horizontal zone. We're below it. We've broken the channel to the downside. And now you can start preparing to buy again. Whether it's going to be at 6,000 or 3,000 or 1,000, we don't know. The trick is not to buy on the low, but to buy on the recovery.
Right.
So to illustrate what I mean by that is, you don't know where the low is here when price is busy coming down. Thank you, TradingView, for advertising me something I'm not interested in. Thank you very much.
There's actually another player coming into the market to compete with BitMEX and Bybit that I'm in some talks with at the moment. So we might have a sponsor in the near future. You won't have to be closing those trading.
I won't have to be closing those. Still, I wouldn't. I'm so damn stingy. I don't know if I'd paid TradingView, even if I had.
Everyone in Bitcoin's stingy, Venzen. There's an army of ducks arseholes.
There's an army of us. Yeah.
You're all hodlers.
So we're all hodlers. So look at this coming down. You don't know where the bottom is. Yeah. A lot of people say, well, I'm going to wait for it to go to 1,000, or I'm going to wait for it to touch 3,000, but it never did. So
gotcha.
When you're buying on these drops, you don't know where it's going to go. And this is the proverbial catching a falling knife. You just don't know where it's going to hit ground. So the trick is to buy when price goes above this red level, because you've got multiple indications that you've got a stack of confidence that price is advancing. And as sure as hell, there it does. Once it breaks above the red trend line, it surges higher. So you would have either bought on that break of that red sort of resistance line, or you would have bought somewhere in here, right? Okay. And that's the trick. Buy on the recovery. Don't buy where you think the low is, because we don't know where the low is.
Right. All right. So sort of short term, you think over the next few days we're looking at an uptrend.
I think we're in an uptrend. It's not going to be a clear uptrend so that people can buy today and then sell in a week from now, or in a month from now at the upper. It's going to be full of tricks, like we know the market always is. Yeah. I believe it's going to go up, then it's going to pull back a little bit, and then make another push higher. It could even do so in another triangle, in which we've got A, B, C, D, E to the top. So this is going to be a tricky one. It's going to be a tricky one, but I think the takeaway from today's analysis is we should eventually revisit near 10,000 It's not going to be easy. And the reversal from 10,000 is not going to be the beginning of a massive bear market yet. It's just going to be a return to the lower green trend line. That's
Yeah.
my sense for the coming weeks and months.
Okay. Interesting. Look,
Okay,
I
let me
mean,
drop the shit.
there's just some fascinating things happening all over the place. I mean, having just come back from another conference, it's typical of what I'm seeing this year in general. The numbers of projects at these things it's a fraction of the crazy days of 2017 and early 2018. What is there is a hell of a lot. The professionalism, the organization of the people that are around now it's really a step up. I like what I'm seeing in the space. I'm more convinced than ever that Bitcoin, a number of the Bitcoin projects really have a big future. Obviously, we're, from a macroeconomic point of view, teetering on the brink of some worrying scenarios with a currency crisis, just general global recession. So how this will affect Bitcoin, that's something I'm really trying to wrap my head around, and we'll be creating a bit of content on that subject over the next week or two. So it'll be interesting to discuss that in a bit more detail with you. The other thing I'm really still trying to wrap my head around is, obviously, we're coming into the halvening, May 19, May 20 next year, and how that's likely to affect price. I'd love to revisit that conversation with yourself and Lisa on Friday. I think you both got slightly different views there, and let's get a bit of debate going on that one.
Yeah, and that's great.
And obviously to have Dee on board for that chat, the man who's all in. It's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it.
He's gonna choose sides. He's gonna have to choose sides. Ideologically, he's gonna be scratching his head every time I talk.
Yeah. All right. So you got 3 days to prepare for that one, Venzen. So anything else? I've got to keep it short and sweet today. I've got to get down to the editing suite and get this content done with Jesse that we've just shot in Korea. There's some really good stuff there, so make sure you check it out. And as I mentioned, I'm hopefully sort of edging this a bit closer to getting some sponsorship for the material we're making together to help, obviously, get down and do one of your courses as well. Do you want to just throw your website up there and let people know how they can find you? And also, I know you're off to Tone's conference in Bali very, very shortly. How's that all tracking?
That is the conference with Tone has it's really been surprising. I mean, there's let me share this screen here. I'll talk about Tone's workshop just now. I just totally lost where I am on my desktop. I don't want to bring the wrong screen up, because I've been researching some very interesting stuff, but it's not for public consumption right now. So this is my website, which outlines, I've got 2 websites. The one is a trading website, subscription-based, and people find it when they do. It's supposed to be word of mouth, because I don't just want anybody to join there, certainly not new traders, because it's a trading method for intermediate and advanced traders. And new traders often lose their bearing because they're being introduced to concepts that are quite advanced in the market. So I'm not advertising that website just yet, but this website, cryptocurrency.net, promotes my trading camp which is sort of a week that I spend with 5 people, a group of up to 5 people, maximum 5 people. And we spend a week together in a resort in Thailand, on the beach, in the jungle next to the beach, and I train them. I mentor them into my method, into a system of trading and money management. Yeah. And anybody who's interested in, come to my website. there's a
coming into
link
the good weather part of the year as well for where you hold that as well, aren't we?
Yes, and great. Scenes like this where people stay in the traditional Thai wooden houses, and the pricing is all there. And if you click on one of these dates, it'll take you to a form that you can contact me directly and say, I'm interested in this date, and we discuss it.
Okay. When's the next one, Venzen?
The next one on the website, it says that there's one now at the that there's one going on right now, but there isn't because I wanted to prepare for the workshop with Tone, which I'm going to move to next. There is one in November from the 9th to the 16th.
Okay. Well, I'll be aiming for that.
Okay, you're welcome, of course. And then there'll be one over Christmas and New Year. Well, just after Christmas and over New Year, in the same location. Beautiful scenery. So you asked me about Tone's workshop, and this is, it's a summit really. This is what I'm going to next in a week or so.
It looks very bling.
It is. There's the website, and it's loading over my 4G at incredible speed. The workshop is actually full. The summit is booked up. Every room is taken. Yeah, there was supposed to be 30 participants, and a few weeks ago we only had 10, and then suddenly there was a lot of interest. So now it's booked out, and there are 35 participants. And
Tone, you're off the hook.
It's actually
I feel so bad now.
Yeah, Tone's off the hook. He made it. He's really pleased about that.
No, I mean for not being invited. I know you were gunning to get me a free ticket.
Yeah, I was sort of haranguing Tone, like, Tone, come on, you got to have this guy there. He's going to record everything. He's going to help us promoting the next one.
I don't think he actually wants cameras there for this one, which I can understand with certain people.
He actually thought it was a good idea. He was like, it's going to be.
Oh, don't tell me that. So there was a chance it was coming.
His girlfriend. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I said next time. So he actually wants to he's thinking about holding another one closer to the US next year, in addition to this one, to make two events like this year, because it's turning out to be so popular.
Okay.
Right. So that's my sort of schedule for the next month.
Awesome.
And of course, the show on Friday, I'm looking forward to that. I want to speak to my friend Didi and listen to how his family are doing. I want to speak with Lisa, the Elliott Wave trader, again.
Yep. Fantastic. All right. Well, let's finish up here today, since we'll be talking in 3 more days. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Venzen, thank you very much for your time today. Always a pleasure. And we'll reconvene Friday, and let's see if that price is nudging up. All right, mate. See you Friday.
Bye for now. Bye for now.
Brother. Is it time to buy some more Bitcoin, baby? We've also got another show with Lisa Edwards. Our last show with Lisa and Venzen was extremely popular, so we've asked her back. That's happening on Friday, so make sure you subscribe to see that. Lisa is the sister of Craig Wright, and in yesterday's video, she dropped some really interesting information about family birthdays and so forth that are related to Bitcoin. So if you're one of these people that's intrigued by is Craig Wright Satoshi, then definitely check out that video. It's in there on the website in yesterday's list. See you again on Friday. That's going to be a great show as well. Cheers. Bye.